Hey, it's the Low Life Podcast.
Do you know anything about nightmares? Can you jam to the cops on cowboys in cyberspace? Ever read Neuromancer? Ever experienced the new wave? Next wave? Dream wave? Or cyberpunk? I didn't think so. It may be. It's a world where you can't do the same thing. Tell me what you look like. A world where curiosity and imagination.
I'd buy that for $1. Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Shut up and get in the car!
Go away, Baton!
Oh, shit, you found us. It's the Low Life Podcast. I am Coynox McGillicuddy, currently in Ohio, not in Springfield. Your pets are safe.
God,
I am joined with Scum.
you
By
sound.
Scum? Joined by Scum.
Yeah, you sound like you're in like a nuclear reactor right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm in the bunker.
Yeah.
This is Low Life HQ is an armor readout. Also joining us is Shadowlink,
Hello.
and we're also got Zero.
Welcome back, gentle listeners, for a special 9/11 edition of the Low Life Podcast.
All right,
Never
shit.
remember
I
to
forgot.
Yeah,
you.
forget.
Oh, I forgot. Fuck. Yeah, well, hey, and then forming our the head of this Voltron is the Cyberpunk Librarian.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Welcome.
Thank
Yes.
you. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
Right on. Yes, he's joining us because we got a little long play for you about some recent events in the publishing world. But before we get to that, sir, where can people find you?
Oh, the best place to do to find me doing anything is cyberpunklibrarian.com. And I basically have one social media thing these days, and that's on hackers.town, which is a Mastodon instance. It's just, hackers.town. It's literally not spelled with a Z or anything like that. And I'm just Cyberpunk Librarian there, too. I mean, if you want to find me, that's probably the best place to do it. I have a Threads account, and every so often I look at it, and then I just walk away shaking my head.
Yeah, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you got to get on Threads." I was like, "Dude, I don't have to be on Dick."
Yeah, someone told me I need to get on Blue Sky, and I just laughed.
Yeah.
I am on Blue Sky, and I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's got.
Oh man,
But, it's like Twitter was for a minute, and I hope it stays this way.
I'm glad I ditched social media for the most
You're
part.
better for it.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, I guess Discord kind of qualifies, but it's like it's more insular.
Absolutely.
It's a walled garden.
Absolutely.
It's nice. I like
But
it.
if you don't like social media, but you would like to support us, please find us at neondystopia.com/pay. I did that backwards. Holy fuck.
Damn it.
We are professionals.
Patreon.com/neondystopia, not the other way around. Drop us $1 if you are so inclined. It helps a lot. And you can find us at neondystopia.com, where fiction is published twice monthly. And this podcast, you can find all updates and information on neondystopia.com. We have, I guess, a Facebook. I don't know. I'm really bad at updating anything.
It's still out there.
Look, guys.
But the Discord is where it's at. The Discord is where you find us.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of, we got the Discord link. Will be in the description.
Yup.
And just in
join us.
case
Come hang out.
any organs of state intelligence are listening and looking for new propaganda mouthpieces, our monthly Patreon contribution will be $400,000 a piece.
Mhm.
And we promise, as soon as that first check clears, we will absolutely still be here to say whatever it is
Yeah.
that you want us to say.
If you just want us to shut up,
Yeah.
our price point is $8 million a piece.
That's it. We will never speak
That's
again.
all we need.
Damn near violent silence.
Disappear.
Just me sitting here playing Vampire Survivors.
Yep.
It's really a cheap price if you think about it.
I get to go to the dentist.
Yeah. I'm going to invest it all in gold. I hear that's working.
You would.
Get some NFTs. Hey guys, you see the debate?
No.
As a matter of fact,
Oh,
no,
man.
I didn't.
I was watching it right before we started this call, and listen, I don't fucking care. Like, for me, presidential elections it just all boils down to, hey, who do you want to be fucking you in the ass? Like, more or less. Vote for that person.
We have to talk about the one special thing we get from this debate. Okay, so you know how you go to karaoke with your friends and everybody's just playing the fool. Like you might actually see me get up on a stage and try to sing, "Do the butt" or something. And that's fun. That's cool. But have you ever gone to like a talent show and watched like a friend just fail?
Yeah.
And you're embarrassed for them?
Yeah, okay.
What's special and delicious about this debate is that we got to watch someone we don't like fail.
Yeah, fascist.
In that way. And it was like, I don't have no empathy for you. It's just like,
Yep.
Yeah.
This is delicious.
Oh, it was comedy gold. It was just perfect. I mean, like, I don't fucking know what to think about Kamala Harris. I'm sure that she's, like a fucking lizard person like the rest of them.
I don't like her either, but like
not great.
Oh my god, there was just something so beautiful. Like, I'm not even done with it. I'm like halfway through it.
Yeah.
And just her expressions and her responses are so fucking surgical, so precise, and she has the patience of a fucking guru. It's beautiful. It is
my
poetry in motion. Is what it is.
Donnie was well out of his element. Donnie was.
Man.
He was out of his element.
There was the meme game for all of this today was incredible.
Fell apart so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
All she had to do was say, "Nobody likes your rallies."
No, I think I found this one tweet about it, and it was like utterly perfect. Oh yeah, at Amanda Littman on Twitter said, her ability to stop herself from saying "this motherfucker" on national television requires the kind of willpower most of us could never even dream of.
I think my favorite one was she just gone and killed a 78-year-old baby.
Aborted. That was.
God.
And then somebody had posted a map. Hey Jay. Posted a map and said, if Kamala had called him "this motherfucker," and it's just a map of the states, it's all blue. Like all the votes it's just like all the sliders are to the right, like it's just fucking really good.
I definitely have a lot of. Oh, go ahead.
He needs a crowd and he didn't have one. Like everything he thought he was getting in this whole, you got to mute the mics when we're not talking. He was still trying to yell over it. You can still hear it picked up like on the room mic or on her mic and stuff.
Yeah.
And another thing I liked is, which I didn't expect, was the moderators like straight up like he spews his bullshit and they're like, yeah, that never happened. Okay, come on,
right.
Oh wow!
I was like,
I mean,
What a
fucking real-time
fresh
fact
take on a
checking?
debate.
oh man, that was fucking beautiful.
The moderator actually moderated. What the
Well, you know
hell
what's
is
funny?
that?
That moderator is a newscaster from New York. I
man.
see him like every day.
Oh yeah.
The bar is so low. Oh, they actually moderated?
I mean,
Yeah.
like I've definitely seen that guy before.
Yeah,
Like,
we all have. Yeah, we all have.
Yeah.
He's a well-known newscaster from my part of the world, and
How did they mold his hair?
I don't know. He looks the same every time I see him on TV.
Yeah.
So like
Fucking
it's
incredible.
I guess it's a skill. I don't know. I don't like either of them, but one's a fascist and one isn't, and I'll fucking deal with shit as it happens.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna listen to the debate. I
You know what?
I like
That's
life.
fair. Like you don't
There's
have
plenty of
to,
clips.
but it's just, it's so fucking funny. It's so
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's,
funny.
at times you just have to
It's
remind
really-
yourself
it's
that like he's
golden
really
entertainment.
talking about something that he thinks that like happened.
Is real. Yeah. I mean,
It's
just
it's
he's so stuck in his own little world, and the thing is, nobody's enabling his bullshit anymore. And
Without an
it's-
audience, forget it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that was what was so fucking frustrating. Like the past 8 years is that people would just let him talk and not, like Harris finally fucking said the thing that
She
apparently
went at
everybody
him.
was fucking
Yeah.
She used his own tactics against him, and
Nobody comes to
questioned.
your rallies. People are leaving only because they're bored.
you
I'm sitting there going,
filed for bankruptcy 6 times,
Mhm.
and
yeah,
like
you bankrupted
Shit
a casino.
shit that people are for some reason in like major news outlets are afraid to address because he is a fucking failure. He is probably a pedophile. He is a fucking piece of shit.
Allegedly.
In general.
No,
Allegedly.
I don't know. I'm glad we live in America. No, he settled a fucking case, and settlement isn't like innocence.
Oh, all right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
settled
well,
a
he's
case
a-
about
And yeah,
some
he's
kid.
clearly a fucking criminal, a fucking insurrectionist.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, he is literally a convicted felon, and no one seems to want to address that on the news most of the time.
Yeah.
because for
the
some
cop did.
reason we have so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, the fucking cop did, yeah.
But for some reason, we just have this reverence for anybody who touches the presidency or anybody who has the appearance of having money.
Yeah,
That's-
it's the money.
Yeah,
The
that's
appearance
what
of having money.
Yeah.
Not
it is. Yeah,
even-
because it's like he
never had fucking money. He
Well, he
used it all.
did. No, briefly when
Like-
he was like 8, he had like $380 million or
Yeah.
something, and he managed to blow that on
Yeah, exactly.
gold toilets and all these fucking people that we have a lot in common.
He's
with,
the richest
people who
bum in
support this
America,
guy.
is what he
You know
is.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, like there's certain things that he said over the course of the debate, and I admittedly only watched 36 minutes of it before I was like, yeah, I know how this is going to go. Also, I had half a bottle of wine in me. I was like, hey, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this. I want to go back and watch the other half of that movie we were watching, and that didn't happen. We just went to bed. But like, he's never been the thing he's projected.
Yeah.
Ever.
And
it's
I
so
just-
many, but occasionally in the debate he would say something that was absolutely accurate, like 100% true. And that's the thing that people don't seem to understand. It's not that there's people who tell the truth and there are liars. There's also that third category of bullshitters who will use the truth. They don't care. They don't make the
Warping.
distinction.
That's what they're doing.
A liar respects the truth enough to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy isn't that. He's just trying to get you on his side and just like, yeah, come on with me. And there's no one left, man. Rudy's getting his ass handed to him simultaneously.
Yeah.
You know, this whole thing is just it's imploding. And
I never understood. Like, what was that? There was something that you posted, Coin Ops, I think, an article, and there was a tweet that someone had posted talking about how Trump was like fucking the picture of unbridled masculinity during this debate.
My
And
God.
like the fact that these people, think this shit about him. Like how did he ever manage to cultivate this image of himself? Because he is not, like, I wouldn't say that he's masculine or feminine. He's just kind of like a blob.
Yeah.
I guess it's easier than we thought to cultivate a cult of personality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
their cocaine got better.
Yeah.
They call it
PR.
different things now. They call it Adderall and pseudoephedrine. And
PR and money. I find that money, like the more I think about it, money is like it's like a magical
Yes.
power, a magical ability that allows you to
Yes.
just create reality into what
Yep.
you want it to be.
Absolutely.
well, at least project it.
I guess
mean,
that's the thing. Like, I never watched The Apprentice. I wasn't really
no.
exposed to Donald Trump much before the 2016 election. And then when I had to start hearing him all the time, I was like, wow, this guy's a fucking moron. His voice is really annoying. He has no charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Man, lucky for
Like-
you, I had to grow up with this
And I-
motherfucker.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
and I was
remember this guy
baffled.
since the
I was-
90s.
I was baffled
Dude.
for like 4 years
Yeah, he
as
was
to why people like.
He did
gave
a
a
Pizza Hut
shit.
commercial and ate the crust first. Yeah, he's a monster. He's a monster.
I guess it just depends where you're from, but yeah, this motherfucker's kind of like, especially where I'm at, like, is just around. But at the time, no one had like, I don't know, the courage or like the world was a very different place to just say, it's like, no, this guy's annoying as fuck and is kind of an asshole and he's a piece of shit, but he
I
has
remember-
money. At the
But
time,
I mean,
yeah.
that was like the dozen rich guys back then.
Yeah, he was basically
Yeah.
like every other like 80s American psycho piece of shit.
Well, who said that whom the gods wish to destroy, they first make strong? Or am I just like quoting a goddamn comic book?
I mean,
I think we've seen this.
You know what?
It's
a good question.
If it's from a comic book, like, fuck it. Like,
good one.
Well, watch somebody's gonna be like, no, it was like Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, but keep in mind that a well-known Norse god is also a Marvel comic book character. So
Yeah.
Fair point.
And a Greek god.
yeah.
So wrapping up the debate. No,
Yeah, it doesn't. It didn't
that
matter.
works.
It's good theater. It was fun.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
There is something about this election that just, I don't know, it
Doesn't feel like one.
there's a certain amount of like kayfabe to this, or it
Yeah,
seems
good
like
word.
yeah.
For this,
I mean, always, but it's just like it feels theatrical in a way.
Mhm.
Well, I think the
Because
biggest
it's like,
difference.
why didn't you fucking bring out Kamala Harris if she was so goddamn competent? Like
I don't
4
know.
years,
biggest
like
difference
8
for
years
me
ago.
this time, it's I'm not getting the same, I guess maybe I'm going to say quality or quantity of Russian propaganda in my Facebook feed. I have to go to right wing fringe podcasts to get it
Mhm.
nowadays. So
Yeah, you got to go out of your way.
that's the biggest
I'm
difference.
lazy.
Guys, if we just like say like, yeah, we'll totally lick Putin's head, they just hand us $3 million. It's not hard.
I'll wear a beanie. My hair's fine. Like I don't.
We're
give
in,
a shit.
yeah, we're in the wrong racket, guys. Again, every time we're like, we have too much integrity. We could be making like we could be making like rubles just out the nose, and
Tons of rubles.
Make some of that oligarch money. Hell yeah.
oh
yeah. We totally are.
only one
just-
of us will get hacksawed and put into a suitcase. You know,
We're-
I think
We're
that's
absolutely. Yeah,
They'll
we're
like-
definitely.
They'll make an offer. They'll be like, "It'll be this many rubles," and I'll be like, "How many PlayStations is that?" I need to
Yeah, we're definitely way too morally incorruptible
totally.
to.
We'll starve before we sell it.
Oh man.
So
Horseshit.
Cyberpunk Librarian,
Hi.
the reason we have called you here today.
The reason we have summoned you before us today.
What's going on with archive.org?
Well, if you want the short answer, they fucked around and found out.
Cool. I think we're done here. Let's wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah,
Yep, hang it up.
Any
Yeah,
questions?
all right. So thanks for. You can find us on the internet. And
Early night.
Make sure you support the folks on Patreon and hit the music.
We'll be right back.
No, but as I said in our chat earlier, like I try to follow all the horrors, but there are so many.
Yeah.
This is one that I just sort of tangentially follow, and as I'm reading into it, and I was asking myself, like, how is this different from how a cartel behaves? Aside from the body count, how is this different from how a cartel behaves?
The body count. But yeah, so to kind of just I guess to give this a quick like 30-second, what the hell happened and what is going on. So for those who don't know, the Internet Archive is an archive on the internet. Big shock. But one of the things that they offer is what they call the Open Library. And the Open Library was based, or I guess I shouldn't refer to it in the past tense, but I know maybe we're working on it. So the Open Library is based on this idea that the Internet Archive has a bunch of books, and I'm talking real physical books. As a matter of fact, you can find pictures on the internet of Brewster Kahle, the guy that's in charge of the archive, showing off these books that are literally stored inside shipping containers in warehouses.
Mhm.
So at the outset, if I'm understanding this, excuse me, they had to have a physical copy of each book they wanted to then scan and upload to the archive, correct? That's where we start.
Yeah. So if, just to pick a book, say they had, I don't know, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and they had, 15 copies of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there would be 15 digital copies of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy offered on the open library for digital lending. And
Fair enough.
Yeah. And, they could.
Oh, but also, as I understand it, only one person can check out an electronic copy at a time.
Exactly. Yeah. It was working very much like a physical book in a physical library. We have 15 copies and that's what we have. Once the 15 copies are checked out, if you're person number 16, you got to wait for one of those other people to return it first.
Mhm.
So, and honestly.
So they're trying to keep the physical limitations of the resource.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the idea that it was one-to-one. So, they weren't, creating multiple copies of something that they didn't have multiple physical copies of. So, and honestly, I am not a lawyer, I'm a librarian, but under the copyright laws of the United States of America, even that's not even a stretch. That's just not going to fly. I mean,
Which
it's a transformative thing. So
yeah, because it already feels convoluted to like do all of that when we have like the internet.
Mhm.
It's It seems like a lot, but
That's my point. Is they're hobbling themselves to stay within copyright radar, to stay underneath of copyright infringement, and yet they still come after them. It's just
yes, and that's the thing. The Internet Archive is, I mean, I love these people. Don't get me wrong. These are some hardcore. I mean, these are some hardcore archivists.
Oh yeah.
And
Dude, they have hardware on there. Go watch hardware.
Yeah, go watch hardware. Go watch Terminal City Ricochet. Go watch. There's some great shit.
Yeah.
But the thing about that is you also have some very, for lack of a better term, militant, very activistic, if that's a word, kind of people that, they don't like the current copyright system in America. And you know what? Neither do I. Neither do a lot of other people.
Who does?
So they kind of want to push the boundaries, and they've always been pushing the boundaries. The open library in and of itself was a boundary pushing, boundary expanding thing, because really that wasn't, 100% legal. However, it was enough that it kind of just, to say it flew under the radar is a lie. The publishers absolutely knew what was going on. It's kind of like, And the open library has been around for years. So good point. I mean, this isn't anything new. This wasn't something that popped up, last month or something like that. And it's kind of like how, Nintendo Entertainment, they know about the existence of, I think it's coolrom.com or coolrom.org, where you can just go download Nintendo ROMs. Yeah. They know that's there. I mean, that's not a surprise to the lawyers at Nintendo of America or whatever, but Cool ROM really isn't selling anything.
Yeah, there's a parallel there to pirate radio as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those things, like, they're not flying under the radar. It is a well-known thing, but it is not worth messing with.
Yeah.
Because
exactly, just like my Mixlr show.
Yeah. it's like Mixlr and all those IceCast stations out there, and all that
like
stuff.
If you are a company that goes in and shuts down a site that is devoted to, or like any sort of product, like fucking, I mean, speaking of Nintendo, they've shut down so many like fan like hacks and mods of video games over the years, just because they use their property without proper.
And coming from not even a devil's advocate point,
and
but
it's just like, well, my point is like, if you want people to like hate you,
exactly.
I mean, the one thing, go ahead and go in and shut down the thing that is like trying to direct people towards you.
Yeah, well, Nintendo is like archiving their old shit better than I'd say the others.
They are doing a far better job than Sony
really
or
are.
Microsoft is. 100%. Yeah.
What really pisses me off is it's gatekeeping for no other reason than to extract profit.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yes, and that's the way copyright and stuff like that works.
To
Nintendo's defense, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but to Nintendo's defense, if you do not protect your copyrights and trademarks, you will lose them. That is how that works. And I have said it. Other people have said it. If you want to make a new Castlevania game, go right ahead and do so, but don't call your hero Belmont. Don't call the protagonist of your Metroid style game Samus. Don't do that. Don't use their shit. Make something new.
Please, for the love of God.
I love Samus Aran. I love Metroid. I love Castlevania, and I love all of that stuff. But if I were going to make a game based on that, I sure as the fuck would not use those things, because they're going to come after you for it. They have to.
Cyberpunk has some of the best examples, though, of subverting copyright. Like fucking RoboCop. RoboCop was originally supposed to be a Judge Dredd movie, but they couldn't get the copyright. And then we got something like possibly even more fucking iconic out of that.
Yeah,
well, like everybody knows RoboCop. I don't know how many people have seen Dredd, which I love Dredd.
Dredd is one of the best movies.
Totally see Dredd.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, dude, it's Die Hard in a mega tower. Oh.
Yeah. Unlike Nintendo though, who I don't think's hurting for cash when it comes to book publishers, they've been.
There's a sort of.
They've been not doing great for a while now, and because they have been, I think we mentioned it, like basically cartels, that they've been conglomerated to the point where they're basically just owned by like the same things.
Yeah.
And it's a mix, right? Because there are writers who feel that like archived out, like nobody really knows how to approach it, because publishers are like, okay, you're infringing on our sales, because that's all publishing is now. It is just sales. This is why that's the reason Twilight got published anyway. It's the matter of like their entire business is sales, and they're automatically going to feel that like, well, this legally fringe digital library, unlike real libraries, apparently, are cutting into our bottom profit.
Right.
Even though,
Somehow.
archive.org technically bought the books, because, like you said, they have like, a shipping container full of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but because I find more similarity between this and music, right?
Well, you know, it reminds me of Blockbuster. Like, you'd rent a movie, right? You're paying your whatever, $5 for it or whatever, and then it's late, and then something happens, and you destroy the tape or something, like through an accident, or just
Your dog ate it, yeah.
Fuck the knife gate, fuck that movie, fuck it.
I think they talk it up to a misadventure.
But then you find out, it's $90 to replace it. And, but that was the thing; they paid $90 for it. And there was a lot of instances where, in order to get the rights, in order to rent, to get the licensing to rent a movie, you would have to pay a heightened level. For it.
And it actually, no, that's a very good point, because because as looking through the publisher's eye, they're going to be like, well, did you pay this incredibly inflated licensing, or did you just buy the book from Barnes and Noble?
Do libraries do that? Do they buy digital copies to lend digitally in that instance?
Yes, but it's very much like your example with Blockbuster, and the thing is with Blockbuster, they could have. Thing is, that could have been fought. There is a wonderful thing called Title 17, United States Code, subsection 109, also known as the Doctrine of First Sale.
Thanks for making me feel stupid, sir.
No. This is not to make anyone feel stupid. The Doctrine of First Sale is basically what forms the foundation of any lending library in the United States of America. Okay. And it's a very simple thing. If you bought it, you own it, and now you can do things with it.
My God, how long ago was this? 100 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
People's views on ownership are very different.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You
imagine that.
Yeah.
Because in the Battle of the Book, 800 years ago,
which we're probably going to do an episode on that. Funny.
Yeah.
The Battle of the Book.
Yes.
We did do an episode.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? I'm thinking of the printing press. We might do something on that. But
I'm having librarian flashbacks, because where I used to work, there was like this big event that they would call the Battle of the Books. That was like this huge sort of like school related thing. That was just a gigantic pain in the ass.
Did it involve slingshots?
No, but it would have made it better.
You get a bunch of these like Steve Pichennik, Tom Clancy books, and just launch at each other.
just deck someone with Blood Meridian.
No, I'm not.
Use a Tolstoy; it's heavier.
Oh, yeah.
I want to use like Ben Shapiro's book where he's like,
so
bullet for you, babe.
God, why'd you remind me of that? Anyway,
never forget.
Go ahead.
No, it's so you own the thing. You can do whatever you want. Easy, understandable.
Yeah, we do it all the time. That's why we can have yard sales. Yard sales are legal because of the Doctrine of First Sale.
We do it all the time. Yeah. But suddenly,
if you buy a thing and you own it, you can do whatever you want to it.
Unless you make it into a PDF, apparently.
Yeah, unless you make a copy of it that is for somebody else.
But why could we? Sex is fine.
What's that?
I'm just thinking of those like Dune.
The
popcorn buckets, and I'm also kind of side-eyeing my Gundam coffee cup over there.
See, that this is where it gets into the part where I'm having major flashbacks of fucking Napster drama.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
The early days.
Mentioning Lars.
The early heady days of file sharing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, music. I see more parallels with music. Yeah, the music industry to this than anything else, because it comes down to a big corporation thinking that digital copies. And here's the thing: I don't even like reading shitty PDFs of books. EPUB, that's a different story, and we'll get to that later in the episode.
EPUBs are odd.
I think EPUBs are the thing that like brought this down. But what was I saying? My brain.
My brain.
I think there's
a
lot
more
more
coffee today, Scum.
I'm drinking it now, so we'll see.
Yes, have some.
Yeah, it's brain damage. Don't worry about it. It's so, like I see way more parallels in music to this than anything else because they're kind of like I don't think the like scanned copies of obscure texts are cutting into their sales.
Yeah,
because I don't know. Like
a lot of that is long tail stuff.
Yeah. Because when this first started, it was funny because when we first got word of this a while ago, when this first started, like how many years ago did this fucking first start?
Oh
like,
God, I don't remember. It's
like I remember emailing like archive.org because I'm like, hey, we got this podcast. Like we love you. We legitimately love you. Want to kiss you on the mouth. Can you please like give us a representative, like someone to talk to have on the show? And they're like, yep, they were kind of down for it. And they're like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And then this happened.
Then they got real busy.
Busy and never replied back.
Look, understood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not mad about this.
No, I'm not. But this has been like developing and processing for like a while. And within that time, the books have, kept churning out. You could still get like, and that's the other thing that got me is like a lot of this stuff is, it could be like, it could be any like mass market book that you could not rent or check out from their digital library. But some of it's academic. A lot of academic works are getting lost with this.
Yeah. And real-time follow-up, Open Library was launched in 2006. So this is, like I said, this is not new.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the law is basically what you feel like enforcing.
Well, and that's exactly it.
Well, that's the question. Is what
if
is
we're going to talk about fucking copyright, like look at all the fucking AI generated bullshit. Like fucking Sam Altman comes out and says, "Oh, we can't like OpenAI wouldn't exist without copyrighted material."
Yeah, no shit.
Maybe it shouldn't fucking exist then.
The plagiarism mentioned.
Or you're gonna, if you want to flip that around, if OpenAI can't exist without the copyrighted material, then piracy should be absolutely legal because that's exactly what OpenAI did.
Like fucking choose who you're going to go with.
The only copyrights these corporations care about is their own.
Yeah.
Let's make damn sure that that's well understood. I mean, if I were to download the entirety of season 1 of Halo, Microsoft will call me a criminal. But Microsoft, who invests in OpenAI, could come along and scrape the entirety of Cyberpunk Librarian and use it for text and LLMs, and they can use the podcasting stuff for their voice assistant or whatever, their voice AI models. And did I get paid for that?
No.
When this started to come out, I think I said in the Discord, I was like, well, it's one law for C in a circle and another law for thee.
Basically, yeah. So now that we explained like what the digital library is, what's happened?
So
what is bringing this to a head? That's the thought that I tenuously was trying to grasp at. What is it now? What is it now that is bringing this to a head?
So what happened actually happened, 2024 now? God, it's hard to keep track, but actually happened about 4 years ago during the COVID times.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, because about that time, what the Internet Archive and the Open Library Initiative decided to do is, well, everybody's stuck at home. You can't go out. Some of the libraries are actually closed, so you can't go get a book.
What
times. We're going to do is we're just going to just release that limitation. So we have 15 copies of Hitchhiker's Guide, but you know what? Everybody can check it out. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the fucking around part, because at that point you have you start basically freely offering copyrighted materials to the general public on this website. And that's going to get the attention of the big publishing cartels.
Such a sweet thing to do too, but it's like, God, don't be nice.
Well, and it's
I was
one of
going to
those
say,
things,
as
like,
a public utility, they try and take a little.
It's such a sweet thing to
give
do.
Everybody a treat.
Mm-hmm. So that got their attention real quick, and of course that also drew the attention of the Authors Guild and organizations like that, and.
Come on, man.
And the standard legal things were perused and pursued, where I'm sure there was a C&D, a cease and desist, and the Internet Archive did not D, and they did not C. So the next thing that happened was the absolutely unsurprising lawsuit that followed. I mean, no one was surprised by this, not even the Internet Archive. Brewster Kahle and his organization has been wanting to test this in court for freaking ever now.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
they just
that
they just
argument was
wait.
just like,
So you're saying he
walking out.
wanted this? Are you saying that he wanted,
this fight?
They
This
just
was
gave him
a
an
crisis
excuse.
of their own making.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
100%. This was a
Huh.
crisis. And keep in mind, I am bitching about the Internet Archive, and I love the Internet Archive.
Right.
But I also love my
That's a-
kids. And when my kids were growing up and they did something stupid and dangerous, you damn right I yelled at them. Because you did something stupid and dangerous. Well,
No, yeah,
Brewster
this
Kale
is
did
fucking-
something stupid and dangerous.
It's ballsy. It's
Yeah.
ballsy.
Yeah.
and now that the pandemic is officially quote unquote over, now they haven't rescinded that, and that's what's
Well,
That's
even if they had
officially-
rescinded it, by that point, the damage has been done.
Move fast. And
It basically
break stuff
turned,
for
it turned
me, but not for
into,
me.
a free for all.
yeah,
Man.
move fast and break stuff for
Yeah.
you all, not for
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. So, the legal proceedings and the wranglings went through. If you ever want to listen to a mainstream tech show that does have a nice twist, check out the Vergecast, because if no other reason, the fact that Nilay Patel is on there, and not only is Nilay Patel a really good tech reporter, he's also a copyright attorney.
Oh shit! All right.
I mean, that's the really cool thing about listening to the Vergecast, because this was a guy that literally got a degree in law, decided he got into copyright law, decided he really didn't like that, and went back to school and got a tech journalism degree or whatever. I don't know. But
Just a
so
quick
when he
aside.
starts talking about copyright law, you better listen, because the dude literally knows what he's talking about. And one of the things that he said that's always stuck with me is every copyright test in court is a coin flip. Because it's always evaluated based upon the merits of that particular case. It's almost like the case law and precedence doesn't exist, because that's a different work with a different copyright thing and different people that are involved. So, but anyone that was following this knew that the Internet Archive was probably not going to win their case, and surprise, they didn't.
Yeah.
And so they appealed. And I guess it was last week I believe it was last week as we're doing. As last week rolled around, that appeal was also denied. So they have lost, period.
So what? Like somebody from Hachette shows up with a giant magnet, and they just start walking up and down the servers? Or?
Well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. They've already removed over 500,000 items from the open library. And I'm sure there are more that's being removed all the time. And
Man, that's fast.
Yeah.
Why is Alex Jones still on the air? I don't understand. I just-
So, the damage is already done. But the thing is anyone that wants to, get a freaking pirated copy of Dune or Hitchhiker's Guide or, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie or what the hell, they know where to go get it. I mean, there's other places to go get it. You go to Google and you just type in, Prime of Miss Jean Brodie EPUB, you'll get some shit. I mean, you're going to find it.
cough, cough,
So,
cough, flex, cough.
Yeah. So, there's nothing that's been, done in by the piracy angle, because the piracy still exists.
Right.
But the thing is the thing that's damaging about this is connected to the Internet Archive, which has a bunch of shit that people actually do rely on, and they would really like it to be there, including me. All of my episodes of my podcast, all of Cyberpunk Librarian, Intergalactic Librarian, Parables of the Vibe, all that shit's hosted on the Internet Archive. And if it were to go away tomorrow because they have to shut down because they're maybe facing a bankruptcy thing because of this lawsuit, well, that screws me, and it screws everybody else that's, doing something like that.
What a loss.
Yeah.
What a loss it would be if the Internet Archive went away, just for the amount of material that's again, legally dubious, but but the fact that I can't find this anywhere.
Yeah.
I can't buy, if I could buy this, I probably would, but I am incapable because it's rare and stupid expensive, or
Exactly.
it's
Yeah, you can find shit on the Internet Archive that isn't anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah,
I found-
thinking of those Wax Cylinder Blues recordings I found last time we did an archive story.
Yeah, that was cool. It's shit like that where it's well, where would you find this then? And
Exactly.
There's no for history, for the fact that this is kind of what the internet is for.
In an age when we have precious little public utilities left to us, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, and even say that you could, because Sam just mentioned the wax cylinder stuff, and okay, well, I know for a fact that the Library of Congress has recordings of wax cylinders. There's some great videos online if you want to go looking for them about how they digitize old 78 records and wax cylinders. And I don't care if you're an audiophile, you ain't got this gear.
It's fucked up, dude.
You do not have this record player. No one has this record player except entities like the Library of Congress. This thing costs more than a Cybertruck.
You would need to mortgage your house.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it doesn't even look like a goddamn record player for one.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It looks like it's freaking awesome. But okay, so great. It's at the Library of Congress. How easy is it to find that? You searched the Library of Congress's website recently? I'm a librarian. It is obtuse. Let's do obscure.
Before we moved, I got
That's kind
my
of you.
reader's card, and the guy I was talking to after I got my card, and I'm all giddy and high on the building and everything. I'm just like, oh, this is incredible. He showed me all these colon shortcut shits, and I was halfway into an edible. I'm like, I'm not going to remember any of this.
And that's the thing. I mean, if you know how to do it, great. It's yet another thing that pisses me off as a professional librarian, where I look at something and it's like, look, if I have to be a librarian to use this interface, you have failed.
Yeah.
You have failed. This should not be for librarians only. We are supposed to be making this available to the public. And you know who does a really goddamn good job of that? The Internet Archive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes their search is a little sketch and it's like, okay, I'm going to go search for, whatever it is. And I get back all kinds of shit that I was like, no. But if I start kind of narrowing it down and clicking a few check boxes,
I am dreading when I'm going to be pouring through the Internet Archive to add to the database.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a feat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, so, but anyway, so that's,
I have, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that's kind of where things are right now. I mean, they've lost, and I'm sure there will, be upcoming legal phases as to, okay, well, you lost. Now what happens? Is there monetary stuff? Do we just let you get away with, removing it and we walk away? I mean, it comes down to how evil do we expect these corporations to be when it used to be the big seven, then it was the big six, and now I think it's the big five scum? Is that what we're looking at now?
It's about the big five.
I thought it was the big
think
four.
it's down to
I thought we
five.
only
Yeah.
I think it's five in New York. I think there was big three. I think one of them ate one of the other ones recently. I don't fucking know.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, dear listener, what we're talking about is the fact that the publishing houses of the United States of America have been buying each other for the last 50 years.
Yeah, they've been
That
cannibalizing.
vertical integration, baby.
Yeah, they've been cannibalizing each other for a number of years. I thought there was honestly just three. There could be 4 or 5.
Last
I
time I
lost
heard it was
track.
4.
I lost
It was
track.
I'm pretty
Macmillan, Random House.
one of them ate the
And
other
I can't
one.
remember.
I know that one.
But, so then there's only 3.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's actually 3, but the 3 of them each have 2 different names, so it's super confusing because it's Penguin Random House.
They never want to drop the name.
Avalon.
Yeah.
The names.
It's the big five because it's Penguin Random House. Actually,
Yes.
Penguin/Random House.
It
if
sounds
you
like a
wanna get
fucking
real
riddle or a password from the spy novel.
and it also makes you think, okay, well, where did those companies come from? Well, take the slash out there, and you had 2 companies at one point. So good job.
They never want to drop the name. That's
then
good.
you had Hachette, Hachette Book Group, HarperCollins, Simon
They
and
should
Schuster,
have called it
and
Random
Macmillan.
Penguin House.
Yeah,
They should change it to X.
That's
that seems like a great idea.
great idea.
Change it to
So those are your big 5 publishing houses in New York. But I invite you, go to a library, especially a library that has older materials, or go to just a used bookstore. Find yourself a really good used bookstore that has a really good section of, shall we say, science fiction or fantasy paperbacks. Paperbacks are very important, my friends.
Yes.
Find something that has one of the coolest goddamn covers on it. And if it's a fantasy novel, it's going to be
Daw.
Yeah, it's going to be Daw. It's going to be,
I
Bayan
got quite
or
a few.
something like
Yeah.
that, or something like, And if you're going for the science fiction stuff, you're going to see, other publishing houses that you've heard of. Tor.
I was going to say, growing up, my dad had a rack of Tor books on this. They were all
Yep.
Exactly.
beautiful oil painting covers.
And you'll find some that you've never even heard of. Well, why haven't you heard of them? Because they got bought.
Yes,
Yeah.
DAW
Yes.
actually got bought, I believe, in the late 70s. Because, funny enough, DAW, which is, if you're into this kind of thing, you know who the fuck DAW is. All these famous fantasy writers and whatnot.
Like Anne McCaffrey and
Michael Moorcock, Lynn Carter, lots of people, and it's
CJ Shera.
Yeah, like they were literally run by a husband and wife team.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of these small publishers, especially for genre, and that's where we get the term like house, like in-house publishing, is like they were literally just like folks. They were
In their house.
Yes. Like DAW was run by like a husband and wife team for ages, but eventually they ended up getting, I don't know if they sold it, which means they got bought. They got bought by another publisher, then that publisher gets bought, and then the other one gets bought, and then the other one gets bought, and they basically, publishing is a good example of,
it's the Blob. It's the movie. The Blob.
Publishing's a great example of that.
And the more it conglomerates, the more like creativity and originality just kind of gets squashed out of the
well,
silo.
it's interesting because like that fucking article I showed you guys about like because that's like shit I think about a lot and that made me think about like there's this book I really
this is a movie that we're definitely sorry I'll let you go.
Okay, all right, we'll get to you later.
Come back.
This is something I think about often is the idea of like what as tastemakers, because that's what you are as a publisher and as and a lesser degree an editor is like how this affects what is written. Like the example they gave is like Cormac McCarthy.
Well, not what is written, but what is published.
How it's written,
both,
definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What it's written,
I agree with
what
him.
is being written,
is
like
you make a pitch. You're not showing up with a book.
Yeah,
no, because like the idea of like Cormac McCarthy, like not making any fucking money, but then he switches, like he gets picked up by another publisher, but then his writing does change and becomes more like The Road is an incredible novel, but it is like more of a, I guess more to just Peter and Oprah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
God, a book about eating babies appeared on Oprah. That just hit me now. Anyway,
but then he takes like the same set of skills and writes All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah, like that's the one where he took off, and it's an interesting thing I think about of like how this affects, like even how we were taught, like how we were educated on how to write, see it and like tell it and show don't tell, like these things do get like centralized as we figure out what is the best way to teach how to write, but that does affect what is being written and creatively. And like with publishing now, as publishers started to get more gobbled up and people stopped. But sometimes you get more creative. Like sometimes you do get like a Stephen King, but at the same time, then you also get Twilight. And that's kind of like the lurch of how things became more linear.
I think I've discussed this as a model for these sorts of things. Okay, you had the Seattle thing, and then you had Stone Temple Pilots, and then you had Bush, and then you had Nickelback. And then you had Creed.
That's fair. That is fair because as you're a publisher, right? The golden days of like mom and pop publishing and like making some of the most incredible books with most incredible covers is over. You're not trying to be like out of the box. You're trying to find out what fucking sells. And what it turns out, what fucking sells is a vampire fucking a baby, which is Twilight. Because there are a lot of lonely housewives out there. And it's not a good book. It's not good writing. It's not like it's not Cormac McCarthy. Like it's not anything. It's
take
not
it a step further and talk about fucking 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, exactly. Like this.
This is coming from a Kingster. Like
no, absolutely. But it makes money
because it's literally Twilight fan fiction.
Sure, it makes money though.
You got to understand the spinner rack novels that were at the fucking drugstore with the crazy covers and stuff, from the authors that were like one shot, like they never wrote again, or if they did, they never put it in that rack again. All of them had that distinctive feature of here's the introduction, here's your character, here's the problem they face.
Well,
they're meeting characters. Okay, here's the sex scene. There was always like an extremely like protracted, explicit sex scene.
You made
one of these.
The pulps were totally like you could do a formulaic thing for telling a story for like pulp fiction. Like
you make it
I'm not saying this because I was shocked, but it was just this like 2/3 or 2/5 of the way into the book, somewhere between 2/5 and 4/5 of the book.
Well, if you look up the Lester Dent Pulp Fiction formula,
Yes,
Okay.
I mean, this is a guy that wrote all kinds of different.
which I'm actually
stories.
using, by the way, because
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It works fine.
no, it
And
works perfectly.
If you read the Lester Dent Pulp Fiction formula and go take a look at a James Patterson novel, well, it's the same damn thing. I mean,
Yeah, it making things a little bit more scientific, let's say,
Yeah.
isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there is a difference between writing for fun and writing to publish. And there are, like, say, us or other, like, I'm going to say better indie publishers than us right now, who I respect and very much love. There's more wiggle room for creative freedom.
Yes.
But you still need to, like, you know...
still need to have structure and technique.
Yeah, you still need to be
But there
good.
needs to be a balance, because if there's too much technique, then it's the same. It's the same as everything.
Right.
But when you are a giant corporation like Hachette or Penguin or whatever the fuck
You
they
want
call
the same.
themselves,
You want to reproduce
Yeah.
those results.
you do.
Yeah,
you
but
know-
then like each
Yeah.
of these massive publishing houses puts out like an indie imprint or something where they're seeking the next next high for the sales. The same formula that happened again with like the grunge music you're talking, like
this
formula
this-
said earlier. Konos.
This really brings out, like, we're gonna have to do this movie at some point. There's this movie called Peripheral, which is actually starring an actor who is also in the show The Peripheral, but
Weird.
it's about a writer who makes this breakout, like, anti-establishment hit of a book, and then she gets picked up by a publisher, and then they deliver to her this machine that starts transforming her and, like, starts integrating her into this,
So
like,
where do I send my pitch?
So, Dan,
So-
I
but yeah,
finish it. Yeah.
you bring up a good point, because it's like, it's not censorship that we have to worry so much about in this country. It's about what's going to sell, you know, and that's so much more coercive than fearing of being canceled. It's
the censorship of the invisible hand.
Well,
pretty
the
much.
Rage Against the Machine lyric, you know, they don't have to burn the books; they just remove them.
Yeah, you just become boring.
Yeah.
Well, here's a quote, Dan. Here's a quote I found, Dan. Or Cyberpunk Librarian. Fuck, I doxed you.
no.
Fucking
No
doxing
names.
gives a
Like,
shit.
I don't
No
literally
names.
introduce myself at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. This is from the Association of America Publishers President and CEO Mariah A. Palante. Quote, today's appellate decision upholds the right of authors and publishers to license and be compensated for their books and other creative works, and reminds us in no uncertain terms that infringement is both costly and anti-ethical to the public interest. If there was any doubt, the court makes clear that under fair use jurisprudence, there is nothing transformative about converting entire works into new formats without permission or appropriating the value of derivative works that are a key part of the author's copyright bundle. Now, I
about
don't
copyright a lot on this show, don't we?
I don't know if
It's
that's
almost like it's a problem.
I mean,
I don't know if that's true. what
it
you
seems
say.
it seems like it should be much more boring. It really seems like it does.
There was a Blue Sky thread that I was just too tired. I didn't feel like fucking screen capping it. I think I was like hungover. And it was this author who was talking about how she published a book and it had a little bit of traction. And then Internet Archive uploaded it. And then that was the end of any money coming in, period. And they weren't like a bestseller. They were like the lower tier, you know, like you know, the way a record label would sign a Bruce Springsteen and on 99 other acts, knowing full well that Springsteen was going to be able to pay for these other 99 acts, and one of them might catch on, you know.
Yeah.
And this is like that other part of it where, yes, I do love the Internet Archive so much, but you fuck this woman.
See, that is interesting.
That is a valid argument, but I feel like that's probably in the minority because very few people own the intellectual property rights to the things that they get published.
Once it's in the hands of a publisher, it belongs to them.
Yeah, exactly. It's their
Unlike
thing
us.
now.
Unlike us. Yeah, we don't do that. I don't want to own your work.
Well, we're also not, I'm not part of it, but, y'all aren't a Big Five publisher. And, to kind of break it down simply, you're always wondering, a Big Five publisher is like, well, they're so concerned with what sells. Well, what sells is what's already sold. So let's have more of that, please.
Yeah, you can't really be a big publisher.
Right, that's the problem.
We're the big bottom 5.
No, it's very factory records of us. The artist maintains the right to the work.
Yeah, because being a big publisher, you can't like not do what they do without owning the rights to the work.
Exactly.
Because your author could just say, "Okay, I don't want this to be out," and like, what are we going to do? Like, pull all of these physical copies off the shelves? They could, but it's interesting. It's interesting what you're saying, CoinOps, because that is something I haven't really thought of. Because also, like, we're at a weird point of who owns what as a publisher, because Amazon is like, if you don't publish through one of these like big publishing houses, and let's be real, I don't know what the fuck they publish that's really worth reading anymore. If you want to find other shit, or you have to go to either one of the many awesome small indie publishers that have been popping up, or you go to Amazon.
A lot of them work online.
A lot of them work online, or a lot of them are trying to sell it through their own site. But eventually, we all come back to Amazon.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how does that fit into this? Because like, where do they rank in terms of like? They're not publishers; they're a market.
No, they're clearly the biggest like publisher, because they have so many of these fucking books.
Anyone,
they have this
because
AI
anybody
problem
can
now,
publish.
too.
Yes.
That's also another point of dread for me.
Because they're all quantity, with like, they basically have like, okay, the entire publishing world, the quality aspect of it, and then that's 1% of this fucking field in Arnhem that has been bombed to shit back with ChatGPT and like, like if I decide to publish,
if you want to talk about writing that. If you want to talk about writing that's all technique, then and less coherent.
Yeah.
Well, then you published through Amazon. So how does that, for us that don't know, and I admit some of my ignorance because I haven't published anything for Amazon. How does that work with? How is it better?
How do the rights work and stuff like that?
How do the rights work? Yeah.
So they've got different, and I'm not an expert on this, but I have published like 4 or 5 items through Amazon.
Anna Mossacat talked a little bit about it on the episode
that
I had with her, but refresh, please.
So at least with my stuff, I mean, I have never been under any illusion that I'm going to make money from my writing. I write because it keeps the voices at bay.
It's a sickness, I understand.
Yeah. So, Amazon's got various things that you can do. But like the easiest and simplest thing is, here is my document. I would like to sell it on Amazon. Here is the price I would like to set, so I might make this percentage of monies off of the sales, and go. And then 24 hours later, your item is usually up on the Amazon store and people can find you and buy your stuff. I mean, that is the best thing and the worst thing about the Amazon system. It's very easy to publish anything.
Yeah.
So you get some good stuff. You get a lot of shit. And now you're getting a lot of AI shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is that law? It's not God. CoinOps. Help me out here. Sturgeon's law. Yeah. Except that it's like, now it's like with all the AI shit, it's 99% of everything is shit.
Yeah.
And you also get to the like, it kind of like a Borgia library thing where it's like, they've got all these books. Great. How do you find the one you want?
Right.
How do you even know you found the one you want?
Right.
So
it's
I
interesting.
just need to get the book that has all the other books in it.
Exactly. You need to find the catalog book.
That used to be Google.
Well, it's interesting because Amazon, I wish it wasn't Amazon who did this, because the technology that goes into, say, your Kindle and e-readers, and I guess we could start talking about that now, is incredible.
Yeah.
The idea that like you could just have the shit beamed to you and it's just there is
electronic ink, man.
Yeah, it's the future. It feels like the future, and I just wish it would, like, Amazon just stuck to just doing this instead of like destroying lives. Because this
telling their fucking delivery people not to sing in the car.
Yeah. Like
it'd also be very helpful if they didn't pee in the bottle while they were driving.
Like forcing people to do that shit. Like if they just focus on this.
If you work at Amazon, I'm very sorry. I hope you find a better situation.
Yeah.
They should at least issue you a catheter.
Yeah. Which you have to do yourself.
But it's interesting because it's like I think before AI, which is actually shit.
It's not AI. We gotta stop calling
whatever the fuck it is. Before that came along, I did like the idea of just having like there's going to be shit, but I like the idea that any fucking psychopath nut like anyone like brings me back to like Feral Press days. Anyone like that can just publish something, no matter how good, bad, or batshit it may be, because I do feel like that is. I can't believe I'm about to say this, very American, that I am allowed to pick up and read just sheer madness. And they get paid for that. And I would like them to, because they did write down their schizophrenic musings, and I respect them for that.
We got Philip K. Dick out of that.
Exactly. I appreciate the weird democratic way of going about it of like, no, anybody could do this. And AI
used to get paid by the word, man.
Yeah.
AI kind of ruined that, and like I don't know how
multiply by how many words were in the title.
Yeah, there you go. Because
modern day Dickens, no one, literally no one,
literally no one. I'm still processing what you said, Coinhouse, about like what that did to that poor lady, and it's because already trying to promote a book is just like yourself is really hard.
It's like that scene in Gundam Wing where Hero fires the cannon and it blows the arms off of the robot. You're trying to do the right thing here.
I'm trying to say
this metaphor
is terrible. I was like, please tell me how this relates.
What I'm trying to say is I smoked a lot of pot in high school when I was watching Cartoon Network late at night.
That was college.
There.
More recently, in my 30s.
We are old.
I'm sure that I've expressed this before, but like, I mean, I understand why copyright law needs to exist.
Oh, absolutely.
There are many ways.
I get it.
There are a lot of because there are a lot of shitty things that people can do.
Well, it's intention versus usage.
It's
intent versus usage. The intent of the law versus how it's actually used and applied. And
like
the thing about it is that copyright law at the end of the day, it comes down to quantifying and compensating for a creative product, and it's very difficult.
Why do you think Taylor Swift re-recorded her entire catalog?
When you bring money into it, it's difficult.
Like you should you should absolutely be compensated for the work that you have done.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't think, and I don't know, Dan, if you could elaborate more, but it's like the system we currently have doesn't really work when we put because a lot of it is, I imagine, more about just physical mediums. Than just but then we invented the internet and suddenly copyright laws what
it comes down to is not just forced scarcity, but enforced scarcity.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't matter how big a novel is. I mean, before ebooks really took off, I mean, I always pick on James Patterson because everybody knows who he is, and he's published more books than anybody else.
He's got a staff writing them for him.
Well, I was going to say he's got like a book factory. It's like
as I've said, he's the Walt Disney of fiction. I mean, he comes up with the characters and he fleshes them out, then he hands it to someone else. I mean, Disney didn't freaking animate Mickey Mouse movies and write all this shit. I mean, he came up with Mickey Mouse and was like, here you go, now do something with him and give me the money.
And treated his animators like shit.
Hear me out. What if James Patterson has actually been dead for the last 7 years?
Oh, for sure.
He's just Tom Clancy.
I do have to give the man credit if you've got if you can get somehow obtain a copy of his masterclass presentation on writing a book, it's worth your time. It's absolutely worth your time. And
hire 17 kids to do it.
He's absolutely open and honest about how his system works. And you know what? It seems to be working. Granted, it only seems to be working for James Patterson, but okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but so the enforced scarcity of this is, back in the day, there were only so many copies of this book printed. There was an actual scarcity, and they weren't going to keep printing more unless it was popular enough to do so. Mm-hmm. So, 100,000 or 1 million copies goes out, and they go out to consumers, and they go out to bookstores, and they go out to libraries, nationwide, worldwide, whatever. But that's all there is. And okay, it makes sense to have a copyright law that kind of surrounds that. But now you have the situation where I can take an ebook and make a copy of it by pressing 3 keys. So it's not really a problem to make a copy of anything anymore. And that's why the problem isn't really the digital facet of it. The problem is you no longer own that, and neither do libraries. Because when you get an ebook from Amazon, you license it. It's not a purchase. It is a licensing agreement. And famously, they've yoinked shit off of people's Kindles. And funny enough, one of the titles that made them famous for doing that was 1984.
Wow.
Years ago, Amazon removed several copies of 1984 from lots of people's Kindles because of some reason. I don't even remember why, because I've slept since then. But they can do that. They can reach into your Kindle and pull shit off of it.
They did that. Well, see, here's the thing. They didn't exactly do that with PT, but they made it so that if you deleted it from your like PlayStation or whatever,
Exactly,
you couldn't download it again. That was it.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that happens in like all digital media marketplaces.
Yeah.
that's the thing, because when you buy something digitally, you're not buying shit.
You're not buying.
You don't own that. You don't own those Steam games.
Yes.
If
don't-
purchasing does not equal ownership, then
Piracy isn't theft.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
It's not-
And I absolutely 100%
And,
agree with that. And to take that to the whole thing with libraries and the Internet Archive, CoinOps was talking about like how it cost Blockbuster $90 to, get a movie because they were going to rent it. Well, if you buy an item on, say, Amazon for $15, you buy, whatever the latest novel is or whatever, I guarantee you a library is going to spend $60 for it. So there's already a markup. Is it a new novel? Then we probably didn't get access to it right away, because there's plenty of publishers that will not even offer it to libraries until it's been on the consumer market for a few weeks, because they see the librarians as freeloaders. Because we're going to buy this thing for 4 times the price of the consumer, so we're obviously freeloading there. And
all these uses out of it.
yeah, and on top of that, it's a licensing agreement. So just because we've bought a copy of the latest JD Robb or whatever, first off, in most cases, it's 1 copy per user. So it's, if you buy 15 copies, again, you can only lend out 15 copies simultaneously, and then, the 16th person has to wait. But that license is only good for a certain period of time.
Right.
And if you want to keep those copies of that JD Robb book, you're going to have to license it again and buy it again.
Oh, Jesus God.
so
And
it's a subscription
the-
model.
The publisher's
It's a
take on
subscription
this.
model, yeah.
Yeah, it totally is. And the publisher's take on this is that this is mirroring what happens with a physical book, right? Because if a library buys the latest Harry Potter and a bunch of kids read through the Harry Potter and the Harry Potter book falls apart, well, we're going to have to buy a new copy of Harry
It has
Potter.
a finite lifespan on that coffee. Right?
Exactly. But this all falls down if you go to, say, any library that is over the age of 100 years old and notice that they have books that were on the shelves when the library opened.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, books do not fall apart
No, they do
that
not.
quickly.
They actually
Unless
go
they're
against.
Unless
paperback
they're
novels
paperback.
from the 1970s.
Well,
mine
mine
are
are-
reinforced with that contact paper too.
Well,
like they did
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
I'm still mad that I never got to finish that 10-part epic that L0WL1F3 wrote. Not Battlefield Earth. There was this like 10-part thing that came out. Like
Yeah, no, it was a good collection. No,
I had
it's
like 7 of them. I'm still
Books-
mad about that.
books really
So-
are like the dreams that don't die, because they go against planned obsolescence very
Yeah.
much, because I have books from the 70s that are doing quite well.
I dropped a book in water and then read it.
I was going to say as we're recording this, I'm staring at a yellowing stack of
Yeah.
Iceberg Slim books.
Yeah.
I have like Reader's Digest from the 80s just staring at me right now. Like
So
it's
this idea So this idea that these books are, disintegrating and we have to buy new copies, that's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit, but what are we going to do? Because there are only certain marketplaces that a library can go to get this stuff, and they have to basically play by the rules. And there's always some kind of rule that is not as simple as I buy a copy of it and now I can do whatever I want with it.
Well, it's all control. Well, it's two things, right? It's the reason why you don't own your Steam games or like when you buy a book on Amazon on Kindle. Yeah. It's all a matter of control. It's in like unfortunately it's also control because that poor lady when her book was uploaded to Internet Archive couldn't sell it anymore because money is control. It's all of these things are a manner of controlling your quote unquote product, and the fact that like if it doesn't make money, it might as well not exist in our society.
The thing that pisses me off about all this is like death of the author. Like if I die and I write a book, and it's making a ton of money, and then I die, the rest of it goes to T.
Yeah,
and then when she's gone, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it'll go to because you're not having kids, so it goes to your dogs, and then when they pass, it goes to your whatever.
Francis was already running my finances, so we're fine.
Yeah. So like whoever family, like there's examples of this with Robert E. Howard, like the Howard family are still around. It's the reason why Lovecraft's work is all open to the public is because he did not have any family at all.
Well, I'm thinking about like how many generations get to leech off of like a good book.
If they're legal savvy, a while.
Yeah, isn't it life of the author plus 70 years, I believe, is the sort of like rule of thumb.
Yeah,
but even then that can be, well, that's the thing. That's like a rule of thumb. It's a guideline because it could be different. Yeah. And it all comes down to like, the Disney problem with, say, Winnie the Pooh, where, Winnie the Pooh passed into the public domain. But the version of Winnie Pooh that is a small, yellow, pudgy bear that wears a red shirt that doesn't quite fit him and always gets his head stuck in a jar of honey, you can't do that one. Yeah, no, you can't not do that Pooh. You have to do a different Pooh.
That whole shit.
Yeah. So, then you start getting into, Mickey Mouse is now public domain, but only a very specific kind of Mickey Mouse.
Right.
And
he's always got to constantly bend the knees.
Yeah. So then you start getting into the intellectual property question of what is a Mickey Mouse? And, what is a Winnie the Pooh? What makes Winnie the Pooh Winnie the Pooh? Everyone knows the yellow Pooh, but if you go look at the original storybooks, it's a stuffed bear. It's literally just a stuffed damn bear.
So you need 2 grams of cognac. That's how you make a Mickey Mouse. And then you put splash of soda, twist of lime, and
then a Disney World hat.
Sodium pentothal? I don't know. It's like slipping him a Mickey Mouse. It's a little
something like that, yeah. But I feel like all of these things as well complicates just the sheer joy of creation to the point where because everything has to be marketable.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like once you boil it down to quantifying and compensating for creativity, it just gets so dreary and depressing.
Yeah, this is annoying as shit. Well, S.E. Jensen. I was talking to her at one point. She's talking about.
She's great. Go read her books.
Good people.
Yeah.
Yes.
She loves writing cyberpunk. That's her
she's
thing.
Good at it.
That's her wheelhouse.
She's very good at it.
But she mostly writes romance novels because that's where, as a female writer, that's where you make your money.
I'm dead inside.
Oh, she's definitely a workman class writer for me. Because when she does stuff, when she's like wants to do like a short story, just do like one off, it's like she's very good, and she is a very good writer when it comes to like her mass market stuff. But that's like she's a classic example of a working writer.
Well, then bringing it back around. Like, let's say you have like a schizophrenic man writing his ramblings, and he wants to get it published.
Beautiful.
And then the publisher denies him. Like,
yeah, of course, they of course they would.
Then you arrange a meeting and you leave broken bottles around.
Then you're Brady Snellis.
I guess I'm trying to figure out.
Self-publishing isn't dirty anymore. Like,
no, it's not. It used to be called vanity publishing, and I haven't heard that term in years.
That's true.
That literally the year I know when this switched. The year I started Columbia, because I had a professor who had self-published, and everybody was like, at the beginning of the semester, everybody was just like, let's talk about that. And
what year was that?
Fucking
2008.
Yeah,
about
that's
right.
not a fucking.
But here's the thing:
weird, because
I was in high
school. I was in high school the year before that, and my teacher had self-published a book on baseball.
Yeah,
that he had like done all the research for and shit.
Well, I mean, when you consider what is required to get one of even before it was just the big 3, the networking, the connections, the luck, beyond talent.
There's an entire conversation about agents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you really can't approach a big publishing house without an agent.
Yeah,
and then it depends on who your agent is.
100%, because you might have an agent that like fuck shit.
Yeah.
Or you get something like like what happened to Chuck Palahniuk, or
wait, explain. What do you mean?
He lost all his money. I think his brother like robbed him.
Yeah, he got robbed. Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was like broke.
No, he got wrapped.
So sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, and that pissed me off. I was like, what
yeah,
the fuck? Like I hadn't read.
He's one of the best like living authors.
For sure. And it's one, and that's kind of why I like what we're doing here. Just in the keeping it simple, keeping it small, making a platform where you could put a blip on the path of a story. Like this happened here. Now go forth. Oh, how did you get discovered? Well, this happened.
Yeah.
I know I don't understand where this is going. But I know what I wanted to do, and I don't want it to do this crazy, fucked up intellectual bottleneck bullshit that you're seeing from these.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that
the
way that everything's set up. So, talking about the kinds of novels that sell, a man who's writing his schizophrenic ramblings is probably not going to get published because it's not going to sell. But the irony of all that is that what are the kinds of things that sell? They oftentimes bolster a national or like some sort of narrative. And as like the amount of big publishers keeps getting narrow, like the kinds of literature that gets taken seriously, the diversity of those voices also narrows. And oftentimes it's probably going to be some sort of bullshit, like, rah, like American shit. So
I want to give you a little bit of solace. I don't think we know what that is anymore.
Yeah.
Because whenever you look at a New York Times bestseller list, or you get one of these like right wing, fucking loons. Yeah. Hey, I put a book out. I'm Sean Hannity, and this is about how the one time Santa Claus saved Abraham Lincoln, and this is real. And it's a New York Times bestseller. Well, 50,000 copies of that are sitting on like the 8th floor of like a Fox News building.
Yeah.
Like they just bought it.
Yeah.
And so that bumps the numbers initially and immediately. And
if you know how to read the New York Times bestseller list, you can kind of pick that stuff out because they do like footnote it, but you have to kind of know what you're looking for. I mean, if you just go look at the list.
CL, when you were talking earlier about what was the author's name, J.D. Boggs or something?
J.D. Robb, who, by the way, currently at the top of the New York. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say J.D. Vance.
No, J.D. Robb is currently at the top of the New York Times bestseller list. I would like to point out that this is also known as Nora Roberts, who is a well-known
I've heard of her.
Romance novelist. I mean, she's versatile. I mean, don't get me wrong. Someone who is at the top of the New York Times bestseller list again with what is literally her 59th book of this series.
Damn.
I mean, everybody talks about how, Isaac Asimov wrote so much stuff. I mean, like, there are plenty of people who are writing just as much or more than Asimov.
Well, this is a matter of personal taste for me, but it's just like, learn when to end your story.
Yeah.
Hey,
the thing is, if that's paying your bills,
that's true.
I mean,
that's
kind of like there was a going joke for a while of oh look, the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid is out. Oh, what's it called? Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Give me my check, bitch.
Yeah.
I mean,
Clive Cussler in the search for lost royalties. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. There were so many chicken soup books.
It just, I mean, if you enjoy doing that, then by all means do it. Yeah. But it's just like, I would get so bored. I would get so bored after like 4 books.
Yeah, and some of them lean into it. I mean, if you want a good laugh, look up Danielle Steele's Desk. I mean, specifically that. I mean, go right ahead. If you've got a browser open, look it up because she has a custom-made writing desk that is literally a stack of her books. But this is also a woman that basically gets up in the morning, sits down at her desk, and writes for 8 hours straight. You have an 8-hour-a-day job, so does she, and it's called writing.
Yeah. And it takes so much more than people fucking realize. Like,
oh yeah,
just the mental energy
the first time.
Yeah, the mental energy that takes. Yeah, you may just look like you're staring at a fucking wall, but the Like
Yep.
it takes it out of you.
That's the
drains
battle.
you, man.
That's the
Yeah.
battles to convince
why I
people that
can't-
staring
And
at
these
why
are
I
the
can't
and
write,
these are the
because I
people
can't
that
find
won the
fucking
battle
energy.
against themselves. Where I'm sure that when Nora Roberts or Danielle Steele or James Patterson or whoever sit down and start writing, they know they're writing shit because it's the first it's the first draft.
Mhm.
They know this is
Yeah.
shit. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's
you
shit.
roll
It's
with
the
it.
first draft.
first
it didn't
draft of
exist
everything,
yesterday.
Sure, yeah.
I
Speaking
didn't
of
have
Chuck-
this book,
Chuck
2
actually-
days ago.
Yeah, speaking of Chuck actually has a really good essay on how the first draft of anything that you write is going to be like a really painful shit.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. Was
See,
that
because
it's
Stranger
just-
Than Fiction?
It's like,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah. Was
You
that
gotta
Stranger
get
Than
it out.
Fiction?
Yeah. It was. It's like
His essays are fantastic.
you have like a lump of coal and you just have to get it out, but you're going to feel so much better when you're done.
Right,
I bet.
right.
Stephen King also has a
Oh,
good
I-
book on writing.
Polish
I
that shit
recommend.
later.
I take a great deal of pride at the fact that my writing career exists solely to make Ted Chiang seem prolific.
You're a very good writer. I wish you did.
And someone brought up Clive Cussler earlier. By the way, Clive
Yeah.
Cussler is number 14 on the hardcover fiction.
Wait, he's
There
still
you go.
alive?
There
No,
you go.
he's
Of course
not.
That's what I was going to say. Which one of his Titanic
No,
books is
he's
this?
not. Is this a Dirk Pitt? It's probably a Dirk Pitt.
Oh, dude.
No,
sure,
this
yeah.
is 18th book in the Oregon Files series. Also,
Ah.
Before we go
There's
on with that,
Bigfoot in it, at least. Is it
That
not
would be
Bigfoot?
I
that'd
don't.
be pretty cool.
No, it's
I'll read them if it is.
Juan Cabrillo and his crew go after an arms dealer known as the Vendor.
Of course.
Yeah,
And the Vendor's a Sasquatch.
I'm captivated. I don't know about you.
classic plot.
You said it in the wrong state. That takes place in Idaho, and everyone knows
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, how do you get on the New York Times bestseller list? Because there are many an author like Clive Barker who once wrote a book about a ghost fucking a skinless person. How do you get onto the New York Times bestseller list? Because clearly
Did you
there
say
are
Clive Cussler or Clive Barker?
Clive Barker.
You said Barker, but a Clive Cussler, Clive Barker crossover is suddenly making me very curious.
I would.
Yeah, the Titanic.
Sure, why not? Fuck it.
I have such sights to. Wait, did we hit something?
But yeah, how do you get onto the New York Times bestsellers list?
Well,
no.
yeah.
Who do you got to blow?
I mean, obviously you have to sell a lot of books, but that can take place very quickly if you know someone, or your publisher knows someone, or your agent knows someone, or whatever like that. I mean,
You just
but the
buy a lot of
thing
books and warehouse them.
I guarantee you, if you look at today's, like, say, I'm looking at the hardcover fiction right now, I recognize all of these names because almost all of these people have been there before.
Mm.
Yeah.
The way you get on the New York Times bestseller list is often by being on the New York Times bestseller list before.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
once you're there, you can stay there for a
It's
while.
like getting hired if you have experience, but we won't give you the experience you need to get hired.
Or somebody
Yeah.
gives your
Yeah.
book to Oprah, I guess, right?
Because I look at like past New York Times bestsellers, and it's a pretty eclectic, let's say, group where you would get people you wouldn't expect writing things that you wouldn't expect would have been popular. But it was the 80s and 90s. There was a lot of weird shit, and which was great. But
Well, there's only so many places in the list, and there's only so many. Like now they filled it. They have all the authors that are ever
I
gonna be there.
find the New York Times bestseller list very annoying. Honestly.
Oh, yeah,
any
100%.
sort of prestigious award shit.
Any of them.
Just-
I don't
come
care.
on.
Because it's very
There's
much
no best.
no.
So you want an
like,
Oscar?
What do you like the most?
Twilight was a
It's
New
all
York Times
subjective.
bestsellers list. You know what I mean?
Sure, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Yeah,
it,
so was the Da Vinci Code, and it's dog shit. It's a dog
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
book.
Yeah, just because
Absolutely.
it's popular doesn't mean that it's any
Yeah.
good.
it just
Yeah,
sells
I'll
a
say
lot.
it. Look,
Again,
y'all,
why
if
do
you
those
want-
things become popular?
One at a time.
if you want
Why do
some-
they become popular?
If you want some perspective, this is a real fun thing to do. Go back 100 years and look at what was on the New York Times bestsellers list. You won't recognize a single fucking one of those books. You've never heard of that author. You have no idea what the subject of the books, half the books are. Like if that aren't explicitly spelled out in the title.
I mean, it's the
And
same
that's,
with again.
in 100 years, who the fuck cares?
Again, it's the same thing with music. There's a bunch of fucking hits from
oh
the
yeah,
80s that we don't play anymore. But then there's some that like people fucking discovered and then they started playing them on the radio. I can't think of any specific example right now, but like
it's like
years
the
after the fact,
80s, the standard.
fast car.
Yeah. Well, I've called this the the man's name FM station because a lot of places seem to have a place or a radio station that's called like Sam FM or, Bob FM or something like that plays pretty much the best of the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
Totally,
But if you really start counting, they've got about 250 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Oh God, it's
Actually,
so
funny you brought up
boring.
music because the Internet Archive is.
Don't get me started on that shit.
I mean, if you want to, if you feel that you need to drill a hole in your head and just need the right thing for it, go listen to the 80s channel on Sirius XM.
Oh God, it's the same.
It's the same fucking shit over and over again. And I actually, there's I can't remember the name of the website now, but there's a website that deals in like massive data sets. And you can go there and download like CSV files of huge data sets. And I found one that was basically the Billboard top 100 charts for the last, I want to say 50, 60 years. Pretty much since the inception of the Billboard Top 100. And I literally downloaded it to see if I could find something fucking new to listen to from the 80s. Because, like, I know there were other songs. And then I went through it and I was like, oh, wow, yeah, I remember that song. I haven't heard that song in ages because they don't play it on the goddamn radio.
Because, given today, I always think about the time that, like, all the radio stations were issued there, don't play any more of this list. After 9/11. So it was stuff like I'm on Fire by Bruce Springsteen. And,
literally anything by Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, all of Rage Against the Machine. Fallen by Tom Petty.
But what we really need to do, make sure this is very important, make sure you get this in front of your DJs. We need to play Jack and Diane at least once a fucking hour. We need, everybody needs to hear this little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Sucking on chili dogs.
Yeah, outside the Tasty Freeze.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you brought up music because the Internet Archive in last year is getting sued as well by Universal Music Group and Sony about a copyright infringement case over a music digitization project.
Yeah,
which damages could be up to $400 million. Sure. So that could end the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
But we're not going to know that.
It's really going to make me feel bad when I'm playing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony's a son of a bitch.
Because like Microsoft is ethical.
Yeah, I was going to say none of them are.
NVIDIA is super cool. They're all fucking idiots.
And even worse with the copyright shit, to go back to that for a minute. I mean, one of the worst things in the world is you can't get a hold of something from the past anymore because it had a song in it and the song rights were negotiated separately. It's why it's such a pain in the ass to find the original episodes of Daria from MTV or the original Beavis and Butthead stuff because they licensed those songs for however long they figured, and now those licenses have expired.
Didn't like Spec Ops: The Line get taken off because it used some sort of music thing?
Yeah, what the fuck?
It used something obvious. It was like Painted Black or something.
Yeah,
I think, I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's kind of the reason that there hasn't been another hit show about life in a radio station since WKRP, because same thing. Find yourself some episodes of WKRP. They do exist, but all of that music that they used during the show, I mean...
God is my witness. I thought I'd still be able to hear Jim Croce.
Well, this is how history gets destroyed. Like, this is how culture
Yeah, I was going to say, like, information wants to be free.
Well, we don't have to, like,
20
burn
people
the
speaking into telephone receivers. Like, but...
Yeah, but like, it's like, we don't have to, like, they don't, the Hun, or whoever the fuck burned the Library of Alexandria. Yeah. We don't have, that doesn't have to happen.
That was me.
Oh,
God damn it.
Lasos evidence says they burned it down themselves. It was like an insurance scam.
No, I didn't do that.
I'm half kidding about that.
Send the time assassins.
I just did that. That was the last thing I did when I left Arlington.
Oh, okay. But, like, that doesn't have to happen to, like, destroy, 1,000 years of culture. That shit does, where, like, well, you used a thing, that license is up.
We're mad at you for using a thing that has no tangible presence.
Exactly.
In the real world.
We didn't invent it. We didn't come up with it. We didn't, do anything but buy.
We are trying to monetize sound.
Yeah.
No, we're the money men.
Words.
Let me tell you a quick little story here about a John Wayne movie of all things. God help me. I'm sorry. I know John Wayne was a massive racist asshole. I know this, but
Just
God damn it.
call him Marion.
Yeah, I grew up watching his movies. I mean, so I'm a John Wayne fan. I still think The Quiet Man is probably one of the top 5 films ever.
Actually, that is a really fucking good movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a love letter to Ireland.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that aside, I mean, please forgive me, mea culpa, mea culpa. But there was a movie that he did called McClintock.
Yeah.
And McClintock was a very popular movie in its time. It was a Western, but it was a comedy Western.
Yeah.
Starring John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara. Oh, who the hell else was in that? I mean, there was a bunch of people in that. Bruce Cabot was in it. I mean, it had a pretty good ensemble cast, most of which you worked with John Wayne throughout his career. So that's pretty standard. But back in the day, back in like the VHS days, especially as VHS cassettes started getting popular and stuff, you couldn't find it. You could not get a copy of McClintock, no matter what its popularity was. I mean, people were looking all over for it, but the company that basically had the rights to it, Batjack, which was John Wayne's production company, would not release it. Well, it's not that they would not release it, it's that they could not release it because there had been a little snafu and it wasn't copyrighted anymore.
Oh.
But at the time, how are you going to get it if they don't put it out? If someone didn't print that to a cassette,
right,
how are you going to get it?
Mm-hmm.
And, as things got into the DVD age of things, that movie finally started showing up. I don't know if John Wayne's estate put it out or whatever, but when it came out, it wasn't really talked about, but this is basically a rights-free movie. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Same as Charade, starring Cary Grant and Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, same with Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
Really
I mean,
wondering.
and Charade was the same thing. It was, it was a fantastic movie. It's one of the best thrillers of all time. Has one of the best twist endings. I mean, Walter Matthau just is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
It's not copyrighted.
I'm really.
They forgot to renew the copyright on it.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what the copyright situation of Future Kill is.
Yeah,
Shadowlink
exactly.
Future Kill, yeah.
But the thing is, do you think there's an easy place you can go to find that out?
Nope.
Well, no.
Exactly. It's convenient, that, isn't it?
I'm just going to ask AI. It'll tell me.
Ask ChatGPT. What is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, well, going back to what you were saying, Scum, it's like the people who want to control like this copyright, it's like I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it.
Get closer to your mic too.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, the people who want to control, they're the same breed as these fucking libertarian assholes. It's because they're fascists. You want to control information, you're basically a fascist.
They're capitalists. They want to make. Yeah. They think that
what is the safety catch food?
They want to make money. Yeah.
Well, I mean, strip this back far enough. I don't remember. I don't remember now. I'm way too stoned. But Plato or Socrates used to rail against the written word, because if someone can just pick up a book and read your knowledge, then they didn't earn it.
Yes.
Yeah. His basic idea was wait till I'm dead, and then whatever you remember, you could write that down, because that was the shit that you remember. That was important.
That's the strong stuff. Yeah.
Basically, he's like, I say a lot of dumb shit.
Blessed are the cheesemakers.
Well, go ahead.
Just the control aspect of this. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. But I mean, they are capitalists, but it's just it's that Overton window thing. You push them more and more. They want more money. They want more control over this thing that they're supposed to be selling you. And I mean, it's an intangible thing that can be replicated time and time and time again, infinitely.
Well,
and so the fucking rules just don't work.
Why do you think so many fucks are trying to push AI into these kind of spheres? Is the idea of we really want to remove the creative, the person actually making the thing. We want this to become product, because the writers piss us the fuck off, and we don't feel like fucking paying them or bothering with
we have to pay them.
Any of this copyright shit, or we could own the property because we asked ChatGPT to make Twilight 69 or something.
That was just called 50 Shades of Grey.
Thank you. Yes. One of them turns out to be a werewolf. It's the exact same thing where it's like I do like you are right. Like this is that, but this is why.
Now that we have like 3 companies, right, or whatever, that own all the fucking art in the world, whatever, and it's all it is just like Star Wars and Barbie and Lego.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm just at this point where I'm so fucking exhausted of the same shit all the time. And
well, people are starving. It's
and I'm always going against. I'm 100% against nostalgia because you're gonna feel it. It's gonna happen. It's a natural thing. But I don't fucking dive into it. I really don't.
Like, don't trust that feeling.
Boba Fett came from. I didn't need to know it. You ruined the character by doing that.
Don't trust.
Do not even watch the shit. It's the attempt of doing that. You're acting in bad faith.
Well,
I don't give a fuck about Disney and what they have to say about the things I grew up with. I want leave that in that giant fucking ball over there, and then stand 100 miles from it and look at all the cool shit going on.
At least the expanded universe did fucking interesting things. They actually, tried to expand the universe.
Yeah, well, Disney put that all into a hole.
Didn't need that either. You know what I mean? Like I really
you didn't need to, but that's my point.
It was just available
all supplementary materials. Like
it was fun paperback novels.
It wasn't like Marvel where you have to watch every single movie in order to understand what's going on.
Well, this is why.
So Coin-Ups, are you excited or are you the most excited about the Goonies reboot? Huh?
This is how I'm finding out about it.
I was like, is that a thing? Are you joking?
I did not hear about this.
No.
God.
Somebody said the Beetlejuice movie came out, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Is Tim Burton still working? What?
Is Tim Burton still alive? He's not a fucking.
I was just about to ask that.
Michael Keaton
is Johnny Depp still fucking his wife?
Michael Keaton was on it. I don't know that. I don't know that Burton came back for it.
No, I don't think he did.
I thought he did.
I don't know. I don't care.
I thought he did. And the only reason Keaton jumped in is because he's like, I don't want to be in the whole fucking movie. That's not the first movie good. And I was like,
I actually wouldn't be surprised if Tim Burton was dead because he's probably got like
he's looked
in-house necromancer. So
yeah.
He's in a round coffin painted with a spiral.
I am like with all this going on. In like for the love of God, make something new. I am weirdly optimistic because, like you were saying, Coin-Ups, like people, I think there's so much slop, and AI isn't helping with that. They're trying to make more slop. People are starving.
You know
for
this,
good stuff.
Well, this like kind of cape fatigue that's going on with some of the population. I think I pinpointed a moment, and it was the Hobbs and Shaw movie.
Oh God! The what?
I didn't see it. Yeah, I didn't see it. It was a Fast and the Furious spinoff, and the only reason I knew it existed was because I was searching for a hybrid, like some hybrid songs that I hadn't picked up yet, and it turned out they did a remix on the soundtrack of Idris Elba with Cypress Hill. It slaps. It's like really And then I was like, what the fuck is it? And it's just like, it's Jason Statham and who's the other guy, The Rock. And I guess they crack wise. Well, Idris Elba's the bad guy, and he's indestructible. And there's trucks that crash. And I was like,
the ads for it.
Oh,
YouTube.
I saw the ad for it. And I was like,
looks so fucking boring. It looks so fucking boring.
It's a movie that is like the manifestation of a little boy playing with Hot Wheels.
Well, it's one of those trailer movies. It's like
that's enough. Who's the guy that's trying to do the Star Wars ripoff shit on Netflix? What's his name? Zack Snyder. It's like,
God, Jesus.
We play with toys.
And to stop everybody from writing in, yes, we know Tim Burton actually did direct the Beetlejuice movie.
Yeah, I was going to try and work that in.
Yeah,
true.
Because I can just see that,
Yeah.
Well, actually.
Hot Topic goth jokes, not like Bauhaus goth jokes.
No,
not the real
Sisters of Mercy.
Susie.
Right.
Susie. You could contact us. You could.
Please.
Anytime.
Happy to have you.
Please.
Like, it would be a fucking joy.
I am left weirdly optimistic just because of how starving everybody is for like good shit. I know it becomes down to the matter of like finding said good shit, which maybe we should all just like, all indie publishers should talk to each other. Like, but it's a lot of noise out there. It's a complicated fucking issue, but at the end of the day, for better or worse, there's nothing else like the Internet Archive.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I look for my tastemakers from the places that I like to be. I'll be honest, the last 3 novels, books that I spent the time to read, I have precious little time nowadays, but the last 3 books that I read were recommendations from somebody on the Discord, and Anna's Masakat's book, the Blue Eyes book. So,
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, check out Sarah Jensen's work as well. She's very
find people that you
Rachel
like
Beck.
and ask them what they're reading and pick it up.
Yeah.
Rob Chant, Cragley Gordon. Who else we work with?
Who we get? Adcock.
Dude, I could fucking
John Richter and Matt Adcock.
Yes, please
Bring
go
up a
check them
whole
out as
fucking
well.
Shit, we got to get a hold of those guys.
Please come back on our show. We love you.
And the great thing too is that a lot of these indie like cyberpunk writers also like they network with one another. So it's like once you find one, you have found a very large handful of
And it might seem,
sci-fi
because
writers.
like what we do is kind of niche, and a lot of indie publishers, like say, I don't know, the horror one, The Dark, for example, who's someone I respect immensely.
Yeah.
It's, we're always going to be here. People are going to publish short fiction if that's your thing. If you want to read that, like by all means, like it's not all Amazon. You need to like.
Oh, if you want to be blown away, go check out Iron Spike.
Yeah, like please be adventurous. Look for new things out there because it might seem old-fashioned, but we are still here, and there are many incredible books and incredible things.
Yeah.
Even though Amazon did kind of fuck over with the subscription basis and destroyed some indie publishers by doing that, because everything has to flow through Amazon, unfortunately.
Yeah, they fucked up my Comixology. I had
Yeah.
I had Midnight Nation on there, and I really.
If you wanted to subscribe to like an indie publisher, like who put out like fiction magazines, still, their weird subscription thing like literally ended venerable magazines because their lifeblood was their subscription thing, and they fucked it up.
Yep.
But again, fuck Amazon. But that's all we have, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And
use
I don't know.
the tools you have available.
Yes. Dan, was there anything else?
We're not going to get. Oh, sorry.
What? Huh?
I was just going to say we're not going to get like rich doing publishing the way that we do it, and our writers probably won't either. But like,
Well,
we have to
it's
do it.
almost like
It's-
there
it's-
could be something other than getting rich to do something,
Yeah.
Fuck rich. I just want to pay bills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, dog. I'm not trying to be like.
Well,
Look. The bling era ruined everything for everybody all the time. Okay, seeing Juvenile in that video with that Rolls Royce that you find out later he rented, it was like that hurt me worse than when like a favorite baseball player got traded and then acted like they never played for the previous team, kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Do what you enjoy. I hope it works out. And
it's like T finding out that Dave Grohl had a child by another woman.
Sarah brought that to me last night too. Yeah,
He's got another confession to make. I had to say it. I had to. It's been said before. That's not even mine.
And the thing is I'm so
go
out
ahead.
of like the popular zeitgeist. I was just like scrolling Instagram this morning. It's like, what the fuck did Dave Grohl do?
Yeah.
wait.
Then I have to like go Google Dave Grohl. It's like he's in the Foo Fighters. Yeah, I fucking know that.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Okay, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
All right.
Yeah,
he had a child by another woman.
Oh.
That it was not his wife. And so
Okay.
he's going to
I thought it was a wedlock.
shows of the tour, and then that's probably.
I thought it was like a wedlock thing because I was like, oh, I was born out of wedlock. That's fine. And then I found out, I was like, oh no, he had
He's married. He
had an affair. Yes.
He has a daughter that was about to release her album.
God.
And she's
What's that?
good. Like she
Yeah.
can sing.
Yeah.
So this is all
okay.
fucking.
Well, on that happy note, if people will never meet.
What was the thing Timberlake said? This is going to ruin the tour. Yeah. Like,
Yeah. So, Dan, is there anything in closing that you want to like just say about anything we've talked about?
well, about anything.
If there is a happy sort of upbeat note to this, The Verge just reported today that Google is apparently starting to include links to the Wayback Machine in their links and stuff like that, because there used to be this thing called Google Cache, and it died like much the same way that lots of Google stuff seems to die.
And all the actual useful things from Google are dying.
Exactly. I mean, to this day, I still do not understand why anyone relies on anything from Google. I just
Yeah.
So,
for very
so
basic
that
things.
that was
Everything dash delete emails.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches.
Fucking A, right?
You
Seriously.
want to do a complicated search? Don't use Google.
yeah, exactly, 100%. But so they're starting to. Sounds like they're going to start including links to the Wayback Machine instead of a Google Cache thing, which could thrust the Internet Archive into more of that service provider
Yeah, I was
kind
going to
of
say there could be a
position.
way forward there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's anything that I know about big corporations, it's they don't give a fuck. So
Also
if someone
true.
if
Also
someone in
true.
that corporation demands their $400 million for all the sales that they lost. By the way, fun fact: the publishing industry made over $12 billion last year.
Oh, they're not hurting at all.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly. So
Only 12 Billy?
yeah,
Pump those numbers up.
whenever a corporation is bitching about lost sales, take a moment and find out how many sales they did get.
Remember when
And-
they were freaking out when Amazon first became more like 2008? So basically, when I'm in college,
Yeah,
that's when the publishing industry was really still freaking out for a number of years about how Amazon is fucking with their money.
well, yeah. And anytime someone comes along with a new idea, it is either destroy it or buy it, then destroy it.
Yeah, and that's never been the case.
Capitalism breeds innovation.
Of course it does. Capitalism breeds acquisition, is what capitalism is.
It's paywalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god,
So-
democracy dies in darkness, guys.
paper that's
I'll
on-
never forgive them. Every time I go to their article, I'm like, "Hey, it's a paywall. Fuck you."
Democracy dies in darkness
What?
is the paper that's owned by Jeff Bezos. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no conflicts to be had there.
Democracy.
So
Bezos is a smaller yacht attached to his larger yacht.
yeah, I mean, I still support the Internet Archive. I mean,
it's called a tender.
and
Coin ops. It's
I
called a
still
tender.
think people should support the Internet Archive, but oh my
Yes.
God, I wish they would stop. Yeah,
Like,
if you've got a good
appreciate
gig
trying
going,
to push,
you know.
push the envelope
yeah,
because I mean, like
but there's
he may be driven. What's the guy's name?
Brewster
again?
Kahle.
Yeah. He may have kind of crackpot levels of.
He believes in something.
Yeah.
Altruism is a
he's
hell of a drug.
challenging- He is
Not like in
challenging.
the way that Google guy was just like, no, the chat GPT.
Yeah.
Kill my wife.
He is
Altruism,
challenging.
man. Altruism's a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
He
He's
clearly
challenging.
believes in something, but
Yeah, he's challenging the concept of this this enforced scarcity. That's what
Yeah.
he's challenging.
well, he's prodding the beast.
But he's doing it in a way that everybody else is kind of well, please don't.
yeah,
He's
because
doing it in a way that's
he
very
could
legally
really
actionable.
fuck something up.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's like you're giving them a soft underhand pitch.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
it's like the U.S.
problem.
government. We pay our taxes to keep the beast away, and he's in. When it comes to this kind of shit, it's you're prodding these beasts who will come for you, and you can't pay the legal bills.
right.
Don't.
I mean, I'm all for pushing the envelope, but not when it's an existential envelope where if you move beyond that, you can just die. You just go away.
yeah, not when court.
Yeah.
He kind of invited this, where it's
Oh, he 100% invited this. I
Yeah.
mean, so, and like you said, yeah, he believes in something, but I would like to hope that he believes in the Internet Archive more.
yeah.
And these actions do not speak to that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't seem like it. This is a bummer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
it
see
is.
where it goes.
And that's the thing. No one knows yet because as we record this, things are still in the deciding phase.
Probably going to be a couple years, I imagine. before-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, did he think this was going to be like a WikiLeaks moment or something?
the problem
he should have
with-
known he was fucked when Glenn Greenwald didn't show up with the documentary crew.
Yeah. And the thing about WikiLeaks is it was big, but it wasn't this big.
Yeah,
I mean, the Internet Archive is huge. I
it's a
mean,
much bigger deal.
yeah, petabytes of data and just, yeah.
And
And the
much
thing
work
is
from
you
so many
can't-
people. I think when you get to a certain point, as the leader of something or the owner of a very publicly known utility like this, you kind of
Custodian.
Well,
Yeah.
going back to the presidential debate, Trump is claiming that he created the most prosperous economy in the U.S. He created it. He created
here's
the
the
most
thing.
prosperous economy the
Right.
country has
Here-
ever seen.
Here's the thing. Outside of being able to get serial experiments
So I think-
lane, which is unaffordable to a regular person,
Mhm.
I think of television that's been recorded and put to the Internet Archive from the 70s, 80s, 90s, which might not seem important. However, that's still our history. We just
Yeah.
made the unfortunate decision to basically have it on film or digital film
which isn't very long lasting. So we have to have things like the Internet Archive, because for better or worse, that is our modern chronicle. That is our history. And I don't know, there's Roman shit from like 2,000 years ago that we could still find dick jokes because that was written in stone. We know more about Roman politics than probably our own politics will be preserved, because we just digitize them, and I don't know, the EMP went off when the sunspot happened. So this is important. It's important for our history. It's important for future generations to know what the shit was. Because it's history. We need to have this, and it seems that there's capitalism is literally getting in the way of preserving history.
And you cannot rely on the content creators to archive their own shit.
No.
Like the original episodes of the Johnny Carson show are forever lost, so far as we know, because, well, they needed those tapes, and it was cheaper to tape over that stuff than it was to keep them and just buy more tapes.
I'll never forgive that guy who
there's
my favorite X-Files episode with Emmanuel in space.
There's a fairly well-known story about how a couple members of Monty Python basically rescued the original BBC tapes because the BBC was just going to tape over them.
Yeah, they didn't give a fuck.
There's the original Doctor Who shit.
Yeah, the original Doctor Who stuff. A lot of that's gone. Or what's preserved is the audio of the show, but not the video, because these companies, these corporations, they don't save their shit. I mean, Nintendo, you can say what you want, but they are saving their shit.
They give a fuck. And
I can go to my Switch right now and play a good old game of Metroid from the old days, because that's still there. You go play I can't think of it. Something like, I don't know, maybe like the original Titanfall.
Sure.
Is that even available? The server's still on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well that's good. Let's talk about City of Heroes then, which was a massive multiplayer superhero game. That's worthless now. You can't play it.
I think there's a fan server thing up for that too, but it's small. Not a lot of people know about it.
So I didn't know about it, and I was addicted to that game for a little while.
Hawken's a good example as well, because it's a game that without a server, the game is essentially functionless.
Or CoinOps' thing with PT. I mean,
Yeah.
What was that one that just Sony launched 3 weeks ago? That fucking Concord. They had a huge budget, 5-year.
Yeah, it was shit. And
it launched. It was but we already have Overwatch, and we already hate that.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So now they're basically pulling it back, and they're
they're gonna shelf it, and it's gonna come back fucking free to play. You watch.
Yeah, they're basically
Because it's that's the thing. It's not one thing where it's the entity, say, I don't know, the BBC, right? Does it, or just the dude behind the table who's I got to record this shit. Oh shit, we don't have a budget for more tapes. I'm gonna tape over Doctor Who, because fuck sci-fi, I guess.
Keep in mind, at the time, Doctor Who was a silly kid show.
Yes. It's not a matter of not caring. It's not a matter of in 1920s when Thedabara film burned because there was a fire.
It's one of those things that it's not important until it is.
Yes. It's it's like the beginning of the death of Stalin. That symphony plays that entire piece, and then they get a call in the studio. They're
just think about that, actually.
Yeah, he wants that on vinyl. And then they have to get the whole fucking audience back, but the pianist's hands hurt, and she doesn't feel like playing again. And they're we're all dead, literally, if you do not play this entire concert again, so that we can record it.
Yeah,
it's one of the funniest fucking openings to a movie I've ever seen.
No. It's a matter of I think what you said, Dan, is absolutely important. It's it's not important until it is, and I don't know. I think more people should care about history, but there is a lot of it now.
Yeah, and we don't know why the things are the way they are.
Yeah, we don't write things in stone anymore. So
no,
we record them to VHS and then record over them.
Yeah, no one's gonna. We're still gonna find dick jokes carved in a wall or something, but they're going to be
that's the human imperative.
Human, the one thing that binds us all as humans is just carving. The
second you find out you can leave footprints in a video game, what do you do?
Exactly. How long did they last? Or I remember shooting at the wall in Half-Life. The bullet holes stay. How long do they stay?
There are cathedrals where the workers carved in. It's for Francesco de Medici, he's got a small dick. We hate the boss,
fuck this guy.
Kilroy was here. All right, yeah, cool.
It turns out things haven't changed that much.
No, we just need to be. I know people are passionate about archiving, but I just wish like the people who could make these things happen. Like this shit is important. It goes. It's more important than making your fucking money. Like
Well, again, I mean, I've said this kind of shit before when we were talking about Google. These things, the way we built our infrastructure, they should be public utilities. There should be public service behind us to support it. But like, no one is interested in that because it doesn't make anybody money.
No, that's
I'm so
socialism,
astonished that
apparently.
Wikipedia is still around. Like,
that's I'm amazed Wikipedia's still around.
Like, PBS still a thing?
I mean, I give them
Yes.
$5 every year. You know, like maybe I'm the one. I don't know.
No, I do
Maybe
too,
it helps.
Yeah.
I throw 5 to 20 at them every year, you know,
Yeah, well,
which is
yeah.
pennies
Give
for
what I
what
can.
I use them for. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, they're invaluable.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I'm
don't know.
I'm
Like
feeling,
and subscribe.
I'm feeling blissful.
I'm burned out.
Speaking of paying for things,
Check out our Patreon. Blah blah blah. Yeah, we said all this stuff up top. We just got to land a plane funnily, funnily,
Quick.
funnily,
Vanilli.
Well, it's like this.
Finally?
Milli Vanilli.
Who's going to archive this podcast so people can have it in 1,000
Fucking
years?
not me, man. I keep as soon as I finish this shit, I delete it.
All systems are fully functional. Running lowlife.exe. System optimization is less than nominal. Server damage detected. Please stop whatever you are doing and make your way to the nearest exit. Technical support is on route. Please vacate the area. I repeat. Please leave. Are you even listening to me? I will see you. Error. Server block 3 is experiencing critical ignition.
That's right.
System failure imminent. I hope you are proud of yourself. Initiating the Low Life Podcast.